Sijui guys kama umesikia history ya Edwin Sifuna venye anajaribu exposing President William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga. Because now enough is enough. Even if Raila Odinga anafikiria kwamba hiyo ODM party ndo party ambayo tu Edwin Sifuna anaweza tumia, ndo party tu ambayo Babu Owino anaweza tumia, ama ndo party tu ambayo zile ngome zake ambazo yeye anaamini kama upande wa Western, Kisii, Nyanza ama wapi wanaweza tumia. But this time round mambo yamechemuka, yameanza kugeukia Raila Amolo Odinga. Kama watu kama kina Edwin Sifuna wameanza kuzungumza kitu kama hii, then wao ujue tu Raila Odinga anacho kwa mataa na ni wakati wake pia kuexit President William Ruto, na imekuwa too late. Unaona watu wangu, usisahau ya kwamba Edwin Sifuna anaenda kuexit na tayari ashatengeneza kitu inaitwa Kenya Moja team, wakiwa na Wamchomba, Patrick Osoi, Babu Owino na hiki kikosi zingine na watu wengi zaidi ambao pia wengine tutakuwa tunawaona na kushtuka because wako kwa serikali ya William Samoei Arap Ruto na baada hajamua kujitambulisha. Wanaendelea tu kukaa pale ili William Ruto asiwafae kwanza kabla 2027. Kabla tusikize and show my like, na nasema thanks for your great support. Edwin Sifuna ni huyu.
We in the Senate filed a matter before the High Court to interpret for us that decision whether it was constitutional or not. We are waiting for the judgment. It is coming in October, and because we filed that particular case, we in the minority do not attend those sessions.
Senator, the money that is being lost in this country is bleeding the cow to death.
Yes.
And you see the things that are being fought here, and we can tie all of this together. The things that are being fought: high cost of living, inability to institute subsidies because the government just does not have enough money to put around. Meanwhile, there's a bleed happening here. You're giving the cow grass, but it's bleeding from the leg. Same cow. The questions that are to be asked, where the bleed can be stopped, recommendations that can be made so that the bleed actually doesn't happen in the first place. Will we see this happen? That recommendations beyond scrutiny and investigations will happen for this to stop?
We do make those recommendations. I remember recently the governor of Nairobi appeared before the Senate committee. I think we were interrogating financial year, is it 2018-2019. One of the things that happened with Nairobi is that the governor who was there from 2017 to, I think he left in 2020 or 2019, Governor Sonko, had created an atmosphere that it was impossible for the county government of Nairobi to ever appear before the Public Accounts Committee. That every time he showed up, that meeting would be adjourned because there would be, chaos. And it was designed to ensure that there is no conversation about the accounts of Nairobi. So when Sakaja appears, he is the CEO now of the county, but we are discussing a financial year when Sonko was there. So it comes out from the Auditor General's report that, for instance, the then governor went to Mombasa and he paid, I think, some money for security. He had 2 battalions of police protecting him for, I think, 2 weeks in Mombasa. And we made that recommendation that money has to be recovered from Sonko. Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense. Why would a governor need 2 platoons of police protecting him in Mombasa for 2 weeks? It doesn't make any sense. Then you charge it to the county. So it's not as if we don't make those recommendations. We do. When the Auditor General has flagged something and he says this one was theft of public resources, we even interrogate projects. The Auditor General will go and say, yes, you said you're building market stalls or a market. And then they provide to you photographs of that market, and somebody tells you this thing is 20 million. And you're just like, bro, please. Tafadhali. Hii sio soko ya 20 million. Sasa mnaitisha deeper interrogation from EACC. And in fact, in our committees, we have an officer seconded from EACC. Seated there in the committees. We tell her, yes, this one we are forwarding to you. Immediately you commence investigations, you make sure there's an officer from Treasury, there are officers from the Office of the Auditor General. So we have this entire team that is helping us as a committee to be able to make those recommendations. The problem is that the downstream process is also very slow. And that is what frustrates people. That a recommendation such as that can be made, then it takes years. And it's just forgotten somewhere in the legal process, So it is a bit tough. But I think it is a mechanism that can work, especially if the downstream processes are streamlined.
Is it possible to catch up with the latest Auditor General's reports?
It is.
Because currently you are dealing with what?
It is possible because, like yesterday,
dealing with the 2019, 2020.
we have committees. Okay, the minority side are in charge of two very important oversight committees:
Yep.
the Parliamentary Investment, the Public Investments Committee, and the Public Accounts Committee.
Yep.
So for us, as the Public Accounts Committee, where I'm a member, we are doing 2020-2021. In the Public Investment Committee chaired by Osotsi, they're also doing 2020-2021. So it is actually possible to catch up. And that is one of the things that we are trying to say. There has been a backlog. When we joined the Senate, they give you a backlog of all the committees whose, the counties whose accounts have not been analyzed.
Yeah.
And Nairobi was one of the biggest problems because of the issues that I've raised here, that the governor created an atmosphere that did not allow for interrogation of those accounts. And even previously, when he was a senator, the relationship between Kidero and Sonko as senator was so bad that every time, and you remember the drama that used to ensue, these things were covered live. We don't want those things. We don't want squabbles. We just want to sit as professionals and say we are looking at these accounts. We don't have to be friends. So there are counties that have been interrogated, and there are counties that were lagging behind, but we can catch up. One of the things that you've reminded me about, there was a very curious incident just the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? When Oparanya was summoned to the EACC.
Day before yesterday.
Yes. And they are asking him questions about 2013, 2014. You know, it was very, very weird because
Why?
As a matter of fact, Kakamega County, and I sit in the park, so I know, Kakamega County was audited in 2013, 2014, a very long time ago. Those reports were presented before Senate. The governor appeared before Senate, and those matters were already dispensed with. Yeah, so it is not possible for you to come and say 2013, 2014 financial year, something that even the Senate has already interrogated and imemalizana nayo, that there are queries there, you know. EACC, as the governor himself said, EACC never paid him a visit in the 10 years he was a governor. In the time that he was a cabinet secretary or minister, never. So how is it possible for you to come and start answering for things that happened in 2013 after all the constitutional offices and processes have been exhausted? It's
So it
not
sounds
possible.
like it's a very simple thing. Just go and answer the question.
That's what he did, but we are saying why? Because you know, venye tumeongea juu ya huyu Meg Whitman, there's certain contexts that people might not understand. Yeah, the president is supposed to be going to Western Kenya, and he made certain promises to the people there, and he knows the people will ask about those promises. For instance, he was very clear. He said he's going to give 30% of government to the people of Western Kenya. Now the people of Western Kenya are waiting for him with calculators, you know, because everybody knows 30%
Of
24.
Yes, of 24, you know. So then he made very specific. You know, the problem sometimes with politics is you should not
But there was
also
a
be very
condition.
specific in.
There was a condition.
in,
Deliver
Yeah.
X amount,
That's
X
what-
number
that's
of
what
votes.
we're saying.
Now, did you deliver the
That's
votes?
what we're saying now. The calculators. That's why people are waiting.
So
with
you want to
calculators.
prorate.
like this.
So
many votes came from-
30%
that's
was
what
for
I'm saying.
X number of votes.
People are waiting for him with
If
calculators.
X number of votes are delivered, what is the percentage?
and then he made specific promises about Mumia Sugar, about Nzoia Sugar, about roads, you know. So and in fact, I remember one time in 2019 there was a certain national celebration in Kakamega Buhungu Stadium. There's a very infamous road that Ruto was caught on camera saying this road is complete. Now, unfortunately for him, that road happens to pass outside my house in Bungoma. So I know for a fact that road is not complete. Then he backtracks in 2019 and he says, now we have instructed 2 contractors to be on that road. One to start from the Bungoma side and another one from the Kakamega side. Now, as it just happens, I use that road from the Bungoma side to go to my house.
There's
I have
no
never
contractor.
cited that contractor, you know. So he knows when he's going there. And he's being told that it's a bit hostile. Then some people within his administration feed him lies that, you know, the people who are sowing discontent are these people.
led
Hey,
by-
if you squeeze them a bit,
They'll keep quiet.
Because again, kuna vitu tunajua hii Kenya.
Si ndio sasa ndio
It has worked before. Maybe it will work this time. We want to hear from you. 0719-012-600. Do you think Azimio pressure is bearing fruit? Are we seeing fruits of Azimio pressure in the country's governance now? The job of Parliament is to legislate, to represent, to oversight. We're also seeing like what was happening in the National Assembly the other day, with the Cabinet Secretary for Sport appeared to be in trouble.
Yes.
And is going to Parliament now to answer questions. And there are questions, that is specific questions that is being asked. How are you handling this ministry? How are you handling matters about youth and arts?
Yeah.
How are you handling matters about sport? Are we actually seeing progress? Do you think this is a concerted effort to paint him in a bad light? Or is it the National Assembly finally rising up to the occasion and being bipartisan in doing its job of accountability and oversight?
Yeah, I think I was, one of the things I say is that people should not expect plaudits for doing their job or, doing what's right. But it is refreshing because, as I've said, we are like on an eternal quest for that objective truth. What is this one thing that we can agree upon as members of the opposition and members of those people who are in power? On the question of sports, I think everybody is in agreement that there's a problem. In my other life, I happen to be the informal patron of the Kenya Lionesses, which is a women's rugby team in Kenya. When this team was going for the African region qualifiers in Madagascar just a few months ago, would you believe I am the highest level government official, because as a member of parliament I'm also a member of government, who visited with that team before they left for Madagascar? It just doesn't make any sense. I have raised various questions on the floor of the house, even when they were going for there was a tournament they were going a few months back, I think it was in October in Uganda, and they call you and they say, we don't have this, we don't have that, there's no clarity when we are traveling, there are no arrangements, there's nothing, nobody from the ministry has come to see us, just to give them morale. I think there's a problem there, and my brother Babu has to pull his socks up. And for us, we have not fully realized the potential of sport, because the economy is not giving the young people any alternatives. If you look at the Kenya secondary schools games that were happening in Kakamega, look at the crowds that were showing up to just watch Shanderema and Muzingu play. It shows you that there is the interest and there's a talent. And if it is harnessed, because if you noticed, immediately the big corporates realized that there's a big crowd at Buhungu, they started appearing, advertising hoardings here. That is how you make money from sports. I have given people the example. If you look at what the Saudis are doing right now, they have raised the level to unimaginable heights, because they are giving people ridiculous amounts of money to come and play in their league. But people don't know that the Saudis are now shining, a spotlight on their own country and on their own sport. That is exactly what you're supposed to do. It shocked me the other day that after, as your senator, fighting for increase of resources to Nairobi, there is not a single allocation budget line like this for support of the Nairobi sports associations, the boxing associations, the football associations, because we have registered county sporting associations. So I call my majority leader, I call the chairman of the budget, I call the chairman of sports in the county assembly, ask them, how is it possible that you have never allocated this money? So one of the amendments that I'm dealing with to the law, I want to bring an amendment to the Sports Act and to the Public Finance Management Act to mandate counties, out of the money that we give you as devolution, you set aside at least 1% of that money for the sports associations. These guys come to our offices every time they have, like the Nairobi Boxing Association came to my office. They have a tournament in Vihiga in September. They present to you an annual budget. The annual budget is about 2.7 million shillings only. They have referees to pay. They have venues to pay. They have transport costs. All of those things. There is no single line allocation in the county's budget for them. That's what I'm telling you.
How does it happen, though? Because you see, the county budgeting process is a long one.
Yes.
There is public participation and input.
Yes.
I'm assuming that they've presented this in the in those committees
Absolutely.
as associations.
Yes.
I'm assuming that they've also like tried to lobby to those people that you've talked about.
Yes.
The sports committee in the county assembly, the other leaders in the county assembly. How does it pass all that? I mean,
I don't know.